off we go. It's the Ryan Hartson Show on the BWC Network. I am Ryan Hartson. A pleasure to be here on this Saturday, breaking down all your NFL action. That'll be coming up in a bit. We'll do our regular 3-segment NFL preview, which will include the Michael Vick injury, how are the Patriots doing, and what the hell's going on with the Bills and the Lions. Parody all over the NFL. Also, we're breaking down all the games and picking all the games, of course, except for that Monday night game. But we begin with Terry Francona, there was a mutual decision for him to leave the Boston Red Sox after they blow a 9-game lead in September. He is no longer the manager of the Boston Red Sox. Let me say something. When Ozzie Guillen was let go by the White Sox, I think it left a bad taste in everyone's mouth in Chicago. Just because, he wasn't doing a very good job the last couple of years. So they let him go. And I understood that. And he didn't feel bad about it. I feel bad about Terry Francona. He has been so good for so long. He's such a great guy. He's been such a great manager. He has the privilege to have managed some great steroid-riddled teams. He's been excellent, and he's been a great manager. And, the fact that the pitching fell apart and he blew it, it wasn't his fault. But he's chosen to step down because he feels like he can't do the job anymore. And his words, not mine, that they need a new voice in Boston. So, being the Red Sox manager is hard. A lot of people say it's even harder than being the Yankees manager, because Boston only has one thing they're worried about, and that's Red Sox baseball. And he couldn't handle maybe the pressure for very longer than 8 years. 8 years is a long time. And he did such a great job. He won a ton of games, over 500 for his career, 2 World Series championships in a place that, similar to the Cubs, hasn't won in forever. Curse of the Bambino kind of a thing. So they did an excellent job. He was a great manager for a really long time. And I feel bad about this. I do. Really like Terry Francona. Great manager. He's been great for a really long time. And it's just a shame. It's just a shame. So now the question is, what's Boston going to do next? Theo Epstein, I think, is staying put as the GM in Boston. So, Red Sox. The Red Sox are going to be okay, I would think. Francona's going to be okay too. But it was such a great relationship. They did such a great job. And blowing one lead in September after all this, it's amazing. Not just in sports but in life, how we let when we let one incident affect the way we look at things, and we don't play the averages. It's just shocking to me the way people make decisions. Just one little thing happens, and then everybody freaks out, and then all of a sudden we have to fundamentally change the way we do things. Why? If it's one isolated incident, why do we have to change the way we do everything? One isolated incident, all of a sudden your pitching is a disaster, which I think is a GM problem more than a Terry Francona problem. It's a Theo Epstein problem. I would have kept Francona and gotten rid of Theo. That's just me, because your investments didn't pan out well enough, so you can't do the job anymore. That's how I would look at it, because you spent all these money on all these guys that all of a sudden didn't show up and play when you had a 9-game lead in September. So that's what I would have done. But Francona had nothing to do with this. Absolutely nothing. This was not his fault. He just feels like he can't do it anymore. And but it's just, all of a sudden you're just calling for a dude's head after they blow one lead. They blow a 9-game lead in September. Yeah, it's a big deal, but that's the players and that's the GM. That's not him. He did a fantastic managerial job this year. A lot of new players, a lot of new pieces. He figured out how to make it work, and the Red Sox were the best team in baseball for 3 months in the middle of the season. They were excellent. And then they completely collapsed because of lack of pitching and some injuries, and it was just an isolated incident. It was kind of fluky, You wouldn't expect it to happen, and it's not Terry Francona's problem. One isolated incident. That's it. That's it. One blown lead. That's the only reason. A blown lead in September. And the GM, it's Theo's fault more so. That's how I feel about it. I think it was Theo Epstein's fault more so than it would be Francona's fault. No, bottom line, it's the players' fault because the players didn't show up and play. But Theo Epstein brought all these high-profile players in, these pitchers in. The pitchers' contracts were awful. You bring in Dice K and then Lackey and all these guys. I mean, and then all of a sudden they can't pitch. So that's a Theo problem. So you get rid of Theo. Theo goes somewhere else and makes all kind of money, maybe working for the Cubs or whatever, and bring in a new GM to work with Francona. That's what I would have done. Francona feels like he can't do the job anymore, and that is why they collapsed, more or less, is what he said, and now he's moving on to whatever. He says he wants to stay in baseball. Maybe he'll do television. Maybe he'll do something else. You never know, but it's interesting. It's sad. It's a shame. It's a shame, really, because he has been such a great manager. When a really all-time great manager leaves a franchise, you just feel bad, right? Like Phil Jackson stepping down with the Lakers. That, it was time for him to go, but at the same time, he was so good for so long with the Lakers and the Bulls that you felt bad. And it'll be the same thing when Girardi leaves, or when Belichick leaves the Patriots, or when McCarthy leaves Green Bay, things like that. Guys that have won championships for your team, you just feel bad when they leave, especially when they leave under these weird circumstances like Francona did. Now, they're not weird in like a, sketchy off the field manner. They're weird in like, team lost a lead. That's it. And there are all these rumors where the pitching staff was like drinking in the clubhouse on off days and stuff, and I don't know how true that is, but it was strange. The whole thing was kind of weird, and he says he lost control, and now he's going away. So it's amazing to me about baseball because now the Red Sox are going to go and find a new manager. But they're not going to find a new manager. They're going to find an old manager. Have you heard the names that have come up? The names that have come up for the Red Sox managerial job. It's unbelievable. They've brought up, like, Bobby Valentine and Joe Torre. Really? You're bringing up guys from, like, the 90s? You're bringing old guys back to manage your team? Bobby Valentine has been in Japan, and now he works at ESPN. Like, come on. I mean, does baseball have any new blood? Any new, like, great intellectual, outside-the-box thinking guys in the minor leagues they can bring up? Like, the only hot name that's in, like, AA or AAA, like, from a manager standpoint is Ryan Sandberg. And he's not any spring chicken either. I mean, these guys have been around baseball forever. You don't have any new blood. Like, baseball they keep recycling names. Like, when Bobby Valentine and Joe Torre are your managerial nominees, man, when you're bringing back names, I mean, that'd be like if the Packers job opened up, Mike Holmgren and Vince Lombardi being the nominees. Like, really? You don't have anybody new? Come on. So, from that side of it, it's kind of ridiculous. And that's obviously what's wrong with baseball. All right. So, there's that. Good stuff. Moving on. Your regularly scheduled NFL Week 4 preview segments. We got 3 of them. We'll break down the storylines. We'll break down all the big games. And we'll break down the little games. And then we'll pick all of them. So your regular show, Corey is still off because our schedules are crazy these days. So Tim's going to be back sooner than later. He's going to be done with his summer job pretty soon. So till then, you still got me. All right. So the NFL next. It's the Ryan Hartson Show on the BWC Network.